Fantastic entertainment from Tommy Jones.
That's a great start from Jones, who continues to rip strikes for fun on this lane.
This is the man that has the biggest strike ball in Team Europe lineup.
Osku's actually going to burn the right-hand side of the lane with his high-power, high-revving bowling ball.
Tommy Jones does what he's done so many times here in Barnsley. He's closed the deal.
An absolute crescendo of pins flying in the pin deck there from Osku. It's just sheer unbridled power.
Osku had a very good year. He's by far one of the best bowlers there are in the world, not just in Europe. It's always fun to watch. He's very powerful. He's got it all.
Tommy Jones, he's been good in this lane, but everybody's going to have a bad year, and this is Tommy's year.
I've kind of got to be pretty good friends with Osku over the years. He's a good friend of mine, but when we step on that lane out there, friendships are done.
When we get on the lanes, it's game time.
The 888 Poker Weber Cup 13 continues as these two continents clash in a race to 17 points. Team USA have the edge, but anything is possible in this exciting Team 10-pin competition. This is the Barnsley Metrodome, home of the Weber Cup, where we've had an absolute festival of 10 pins so far. Team USA have the edge. It's been all smiles from them, but Europe are determined to fight back. The opening two sessions were fiercely competitive, with the USA leading, but only just. And that's continued into the third session, 1 point apiece at the moment as we go through some Saturday night singles.
Osku Palermaa of Europe, coming off the back of a singles defeat, takes on the man that has had one of the best records ever in Weber Cup history on this show lane in Tommy Jones. And, well, we don't want to start anything, Cass, but not a lot of love lost between these two players. They are going to try and out-rev each other, out-power each other, out-muscle each other, everything.
Simon, it's just professional rivalry. But you're quite right, yes, they will try to do absolutely everything against one another. And it may pay off, it may not always work. Tommy Jones in his singles has shot 279 and 183. Osku in his singles has shot 221 and 181. And he's out the pocket on the first shot. Leaves the 3, the 6 and the 10.
Well, what worries me is that he spoke about using the wrong ball in the last singles match, and that he's going to make a change, and that he was 99% sure that he was going to make that change. And you know, in a Weber Cup singles fixture, when your team's under pressure, that's not the place to experiment, but you've got no choice sometimes.
Well, all of these guys have had some practice just before the match started, and that was the time when he should have sorted out which bowling ball he was going to use. One assumes that he's made the decision that's best for him. Unfortunately, no matter what ball you've got, if you're not going to be in the 1-3 pocket for the right-hander, you're not going to make a strike. He settles for a spare in frame 1, and up steps the strike master, Mr. Tommy Jones, Mr. 300.
Starts by leaving a 10, and he was a wee bit shaky in his match in the second session. Not as strong and as powerful as we've come to know him, and certainly not as good as he was in session 1. So some indications that he's not quite on top of his game right now.
And Simon, of course, this lane is not freshly dressed. This lane has had one game on it already, and these two are probably the highest rev rate bowlers in the whole tournament, playing pretty much in the same sort of area. Tommy Jones makes his 10-pin spare, so it's all square to start with. But there is the possibility, of course, that they can affect one another's line, because Osku just rips oil off the lane wherever he throws it, and Jones may well be in that area, so it could well affect one another. So we just have to wait and see what changes they may set up, that they may make as the game goes on.
This could turn into a bit of a dogfight, this one.
Great looking shot from Osku there, frame number 2, first strike of the match.
And there we go, there's the youngsters from the Wigan Youth Bowling Club who've come along to support their Team Europe Weber Cup heroes. Jenny Rhodes certainly seeing the funny side of it. Well done, guys.
I didn't know I was going to be on television.
Tommy Jones leaves another single. Well, I'm delighted to say we've got the Team USA captain Chris Barnes, who's just popped into the booth to say a quick hi. Hi, Chris. This one's turning into a bit of a dogfight already.
Well, these two have lots of dogfights over the years. They both bowl the last set before the re-oil, and but over the years, I think this is the 7th Weber Cup for Tommy, and he's lost about 6 singles matches in all that time. I'm pretty sure he's got the upper hand in the overall record.
Yeah, takes out that single. What do you make of your opposing captain's mindset at the moment? He seems a bit fiery down there on the lanes. He's missed some unusual single pins.
Yeah, some very unusual air. So I'm sure right now there's not much fun in games. I mean, not that the Finns ever give away happy-go-lucky as a normal exuberance, but you know, this is a pretty important juncture for them to get. They've stopped from going 3 down several times, which always leaves them 1 match away from getting things even. 3 is a tough one to get back from, though. So he knows how important this is, and that one you see again. He's having a hard time getting his ball to pick up. He has so much ball speed, but even with all that rev rate, there's enough oil down lane here. He's having a hard time getting his ball to get back through the pins.
And as a captain, how do you think about things? Do you look at this as a point for the USA and, you know, let's move to 3 ahead, or do you try not to think like that?
Well, the last thing I said to Tommy before I get to that is get us 3 ahead. Get us a little breathing room with this group, because they have so many good players. Dom is just waiting to explode. He's had the best reaction for the Europeans pretty much the whole time. If Mika gets on form a little bit, Stu can get fired at any time. You know, it can swing in a hurry. So I want a little space. You know, you never know when the momentum's going to come the other way, and it's a great crowd. If they get it going, it won't take long.
And you're kind of saying that you think Osku's the man that you're going to take the point off of?
Well, historically, Tommy's had his number pretty good. And Tommy's the one guy out of our group who can play as far left as Osku and doesn't have too much trouble keeping up with his rev rate. The rest of us all would struggle in that range. And Tommy's gone back to that black game breaker that he's thrown so well here, and away from the ball he threw in the Baker match that really surprised him in that 10th frame of the Baker match.
Yeah, that was a big one for you guys, and certainly those couple of steals that Team Europe have had in the Baker have kept us in it.
Well, it was a huge, you know, he finishes so often that mentally I think we all, we're up 3 now. I mean, we're set. You can see it's rare that Osku has trouble carrying, and again, leaving a 10 pin, the scout doesn't hit it. He's pretty good at getting that head pin back across.
I was going to say this could be a 50-50 shot on this 10 pin, couldn't it?
It's really not his favorite spare, I don't think. I don't really notice him being a bad spare shooter, but for the level of player that he is, he probably misses more than average, I guess. But still, it's not very many.
We're of the opinion that if he misses one, he can quite easily come back with 8 in a row just to cover it.
Well, he's got a lot to rely on there. He's got more power than anybody else on this lane. But this is the one guy here that you don't want to give much room to. Anytime he's had a small lead, he's been able to jump out in front and stay in front.
Tommy Jones then looking to hang on to this advantage, and another valuable strike for him. And Chris, before you leave us and get back to supporting the team, how is the spirit in the camp?
Spirit's good. Mike made a couple of good moves, and he's feeling like he's better lined up. Bill, for the first time, has got a little bit of comfort on the lanes, and his ball. He didn't carry a lot, but he was around the pocket for the first time. So
Osku getting back in the rack, and things I think are going to remain very tasty through to the end of this game. And Chris, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you get back to the team and see you again soon, hopefully.
Yeah, glad to be up here. Thanks for letting me up in the booth for a little while, and doing a great job, guys. Thanks.
Hey, no problem. You're always welcome. Chris Barnes, the Team USA captain, just giving us the latest on what's going on. And I can tell you, he's a happy man. He just walked out of the booth smiling from ear to ear, and that's probably a good sign for the Americans.
Always handy to have Superman on your squad. Tommy looking for 3 strikes in a row just to maintain that 20-pin lead.
Yeah, Yeah, both men are finding a line now. Pins are flying in this one as these two power players go head to head. More temp in action after the break.